Hello guys, welcome to today's tutorial. My name is Bonaventure Chukudi and I'm the founder of Bonarine Tech Hub, a tech company that teaches people how to code and build software for clients. So today we'll be taking a look at responsiveness, the different strategies to make a website responsive. It includes usage of media queries, usage of minimum height and maximum height, and usage of maximum width and minimum width, then usage of flex, usage of grid, and finally we'll be talking about animations and transitions. So I have a plain folder here. I called it responsiveness. You can call it whatever name you want. So inside here I'm going to create a new folder, a new file, and call it index.html. and then I'll create a second file, call it style.css. So in the first file, I'm going to generate a boilerplate, call the file responsiveness. Responsiveness, that's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it responsiveness. So like this. So in the body, now today we'll actually build a simple photo gallery. So let's put a simple photo gallery to demonstrate what we mean and what we are trying to do. So let's just view this in a live server, and let's see, open live server. So we have it opened here. So this is our page. Let's link our style.css to it. So to link it, we are going to do this using the link tag style.css, yes, like this. Now this is what we have. We can just get rid of this. We can go to unsplash.com or pixel, anyone, but I prefer Unsplash. So you can go over here. Let's make it bigger. Let's download some images that look similar, like these three. They look similar, like they have almost same size. So we can download the small version. So we can save as and to our page, which is responsiveness. That's what I called it. I saved it and go to let's see how it goes on. So this is tutorial and responsiveness. This is where now it's going to be here. So we create a folder. Inside the folder where we will be working on, and call it assets. See, so inside the assets or images, you can just save this here. So you can call it image one and save. See, so don't get confused. This is just in this folder. We put the image here, download the image and put it here. So the second image is this. So you can just download it, the small version of the image, and save to our device. So this way you know how to structure your files and how to link images to, in case you didn't know that initially. So you save it as you save, and let's just save. We have image 2 and save. So let's save the third one. Save the third one, call it image 3. Image 3, and think we are good. Okay, let's look for some other images with almost same size. This one can just save this, image 4. we can make it 6 images so we can get what we want. 6 images, and it's taking a lot of time to download. It's taking a lot of time to download. So we have image 4, and let's save. I think I made a mistake. I mistakenly deleted it. Let's do that again. It's called image 4, and save. Now let's look for some other images like this one here, and let's just save this. If you notice that the same size, you can use different sizes if you want. I prefer to use same size. Okay, let me call it image 5, and let's save. Let's get the last image. What will be our last image? Let's use this, whatever it is, that's what we're going to use. So we're going to save the small version and call it image 6. It's taking longer than expected, so we'll call it image 6. It's taking longer than expected. My internet connection is pretty slow today, and I hope it doesn't affect us. So we call it image 6. I think we have every image we need, and I'm going to close on splash.com. Now we have this, and we now have 6 images here. So I'm going to have a header tag, and then we're going to have a main tag, and we're going to have a footer tag. So every website should have these 3 tags arranged this way. Now in my header tag, we're going to have a h1 that says a h1, and there's a short way in case you want to put a class name and stuff like that. You can do h1 then put a class name using dot. Let's call it heading, like this, heading. Now the h1, we can call it photo gallery, like this. Now in our main tag, we have our photo gallery, right? Now we want to do something. We want to say, okay, the photo gallery, which is the photo gallery, right? You know what, let's not use this. Okay, we call it heading. The heading, we want to say this is the heading, right? Heading, we want to give it a font size of, let's say, 5 rem. You see, it's bigger, understand? For every screen it is the same, understand? However, we want it to look different on different screen sizes. Generally, the screen sizes we have are 480 pixels, 480 pixel for mobile. That is the maximum for mobile. Then we have 768 pixel for tablets, understand? Then we have 960 pixels for laptops. Then we now have I think 1080, right? You can find that by yourself for bigger screens, right? Then we now have 1200 pixels for large screens, like this. So this is just what I use mostly for my responsiveness. Now we can say at media screen. Now this media, inside here, just look at the syntax, right? You can say maximum width if you want to style for mobile only, for screens that are not up to 480 pixels in size. Now look at what I mean by that. Let's say we are viewing this in a mobile phone. We can come over here, go to our desktop, our developer tools, you understand? Click on developer tools. You can see the size of iPhone 5 is 320 width and 568 height. The Moto is 360 width. iPhone S5 is 360 width. Pixel 2XL is 411. So these are sizes. If you notice, none of them are bigger than 480 pixels. But when you get to an iPad, it starts from 768 pixels, as you can see, right? So this is what I mean. Now I want to style the screens that are less than 480 pixels. Understand? So we'll do that using this particular syntax. At media, then your bracket, then max width 480 pixels for screens that are less than 480 pixels. You can also style for at media, then screens that are bigger than 480 pixels, like this. You can do this. 480, it's going to style all the screens that starts from here, that starts from 481 pixel to and above. Then this will style for screens that are smaller than, that starts from 480 pixel and below. Okay, so that is how it's going to work out. And the maximum, let's select this heading tag. So the heading tag, we want to set the font size for screens that are 480 pixel or less. We want to set the font size to be 2 rem instead of 5 rem. It becomes smaller. However, when you change the screen size to something bigger, which is, if you take a look at it, let's set it to this. We set it to something bigger, something like the iPad. It's not going to be 2 rem again. However, if you set it to a mobile phone just like this, it's going to become a little bit smaller. But if you set it to an iPad, it becomes bigger. That is it. It maintains this when you send it. Now if you want to style for only iPads only, you can say minimum width of 481 pixels, and yes, you can use the and minimum width of 480 pixels, and like this, max width of 768 pixels, like this. So you can set heading to, let's just say, color of red. You will see what I mean. So this is an iPad, right? Now let's put it to responsive. Now let's set this to 481 pixels. It changes to red. Understand that? Now let's increase this to 768 pixels. It's still red, right? However, when we increase to 769 pixel, it goes back to black, which is the default. You understand what responsiveness means? Now this responsiveness is now used to set the styling you need for a particular screen size. That is what it is. Now we have set this like this, and we can just do this at media of screen of main width of 480 pixels. You can set it and set this heading to this. this is the right thing to do. We can save and get rid of this. Now this is it. So we are telling it every screen, okay, 481 pixel minimum width. Now every screen that starts from 480 pixel below is going to have a font size of 2 rem, but every screen that starts from 481 pixels and above is going to have 5 rem. So this is it. Now let's build our our gallery. Our gallery is going to be in the main. So the main is going to have a section, and this section is going to be called class of gallery. Then inside the gallery we're going to have 4 divs. Understand that? 4 divs. You can 6 divs actually. 6 divs times 6 divs that has okay, let's do it this way. We have a div that contains span, and all of them will be times 6 this way. See what I did, right? A div that contains span. So we can actually do a div that contains an image tag and the span. Understand? And it's going to write it out for. This is called emet. So this is it. It writes everything for you, so you don't need to write by ourselves. So the first image here is the image1.jpg, right? So we're going to call it image. You can just select it like this, assets, then the image1 like this. Then the alternate is going to be image1, or you can describe what the image is. Understand? For me, I just call it image1. So let's select the second asset, then image2. I can just call it image2. Now this alternate is just used to describe the image. Let's say it didn't load because of poor internet connection. The alternate is going to serve as a description for the image. Okay, now the third image is called image3, right? Image3 is going to have an alternate image3. The fourth image is going to have image4. Let's call the image4. The fifth image is going to be image5. Call it image5. The sixth image is going to be image6. You guessed it, right? Asset, then image6. Image6. Now the span is going to have image. So the proper thing to do is not actually to use this div, so it's to use the figure tag. Understand? So let's just let's just finish with this image1, then this is image2, and then this is image3, and then we have the image4, right? Image4. We have the image5. We have the last image, the image6. Now this is not even supposed to be a div, it's supposed to be a figure tag. You see, it's supposed to be a figure tag, so you can call it figure. And to what I just did, I used Ctrl D to select the tags that I want. So this span, I can just use Ctrl Shift L, select everything. You can just call it fig caption. It's supposed to be fig caption to explain the images. So this is what we have. Here. So we can get rid of this whole stuff, right? We can just do this, and we have these are the images we have. Now it is recommended that you set the image size, like you set the width and the height. it is recommended you do that. You set width, so let's set the width to, let's say 300 pixels. You can just say 300, and then the height you can set it to 300 like this, and save. So once you save, see how it looks. Once you save, see how it looks. It looks like this. Only this, you see the size, right? Doesn't look very nice, so I can just make it 400. I think I prefer 400 and save. It looks this way, but it doesn't still look very nice. It looks squashed, like it was squashed inside. You see, I can just set for everything. We are going to fix that now. So you can set everything like this, and set for all the whole images, and will be good. And we have this. The image doesn't look very nice. Now the image, we can select the images like this. So we are going to do this. We're going to do this on before this media queries. You can say we can select figure, but we want every img, the image in the figure. So we are essentially selecting this image here and the figure. So if you hover on it, you're going to understand what I mean. Selecting figure that has the selecting image that is inside directly inside a figure tag. You can now set object fit. So object fit can be contained. Just take a look at it, see how it looks. It looks very nice, but it gives gap. If you give a border here, you will notice something. Border 1 pixel solid red. You see, it gives gap a lot. Understand that it gives a lot of gap here. Contain. Now we have other ones like fill. Save. You see, it still looks like how it looked earlier. We have none. You see, it doesn't apply any object fit. Then we have the scale down. It looks just like contain. Now we now have the one that I recommend, which is cover. I actually recommend this. If you take a look at it, it shows it properly. Understand? The image is displayed properly. You see, so this is what I actually recommend, using cover for making your images look nice. Now something again, let's say we don't want a specific size for our image. You see, we can give it a width of 100%. Of 100%. You see, you can see how it looks, right? 100% of the original size of the image. Understand that. However, we want it to have a maximum width of 400 pixels. If you notice, we set the image as 400, right? Can tell it to have a maximum width of 400 pixels, and this is it. This is it. So this way you have total control over your image. Understand? So this is, though this is not needed, though have total control over your image. You can even set a maximum width of 500 pixels if you want. It looks even way better. Yeah, so when you get to a small screen, it becomes a little bit neater and cleaner. So we can come over here and increase it if we want to, but I just leave it at 400. So this is our image. However, it's just like this. It's not really showing properly. It just stacked like this. So we want it on a big screen like this to show sideways, like 2:2 or so. 2:2 actually 2:2. Or we can even make it smaller so we can show what we want to do. Now let's reduce this to 300. So we can select everything by doing Ctrl+Shift+L and then set it to 300 and save it to 300, right? You can even reduce it more, but then let me say I set it to 300 here. I think we are good here, so that we can show what we mean. Now on this particular screen, on different screens, we want to display different images. So let's look at flex. Let's look at flex. Now we're going to select the whole the image, the figure tag and the image, everything is going to be is what we're going to select. So we're going to select gallery like this. We're going to select gallery. So we can say display or flex. Display flex. You see how it looks, right? It doesn't look very nice, right? Display flex. Now normally we can do flex direction of column. You see it goes this way. However, we want it to be flex direction of row. Stand. Though we can remove this, it's redundant, it's already set by default. Now we can set a flex direction, a flex wrap. You can set flex wrap of wrap. You see it's already responsive. Like on different screens it changes. Just look at, let's just resize our image. So you see it's already responsive. So on different screen sizes it changes with just these 2 lines of code. Is that okay? So this is what we call responsiveness. So we've achieved that using flex and flex wrap, just like this. Now there's something again, we can actually make it justify content. We can set it to flex that and so on and so forth. So we're going to use center to center it horizontally. So it's in the center now. So even if you make this like this, it's going to be at the center. So but our gallery is still here. I don't really like it. I want it to be in the center. To do that, we're going to select the heading. We're going to select the heading, and you can just take this out. And since we've already demonstrated what we mean, so you can just take this out, and just above here, you can just set text align to center. It's going to set it for every screen size. However, the font size is just going to be applied here, so you can see. So this is how it looks, right? It looks very nice. So we can actually use align. Align is just to center it vertically, center it in the center vertically. So it doesn't really mean a lot. So let's just reduce this to 3 rem so it looks cleaner. So this is what we have now. Understand? Now we can actually take this image. You can actually take this image. You can actually take this figure tag. Not the image, the figure tag. You can actually make it display or flex. You see the image comes like this. So we can just apply flex direction column. Now if you notice something, normally the justify content is supposed to center it, right, vertically, isn't it? It's supposed to center it horizontally, I mean to say. But because we've set it to flex direction of column, to center it vertically we use justify content, and to center it horizontally we use align items. So we can, to center it horizontal, now we use align items instead of justify content in this case. But because we've set it, so look at it, it comes to the center, right? Now let's just remove this border and remove this border. So we have this. So we can come over here and put a gap of, let's say, 1 rem. So the gap is just between this and this. Understand? Let's set a box shadow of and again something again. Okay, before this, something before I forget. Before you start styling a website, make sure you have set the body to margin of 0 and padding of 0, like this. Make sure you've done that, and make sure you've selected every element in the web page and do a box sizing of border box. It's better like this, just do it. Okay, so we can set a box shadow to this. So this is I think horizontally, right? Let's say this is 5 pixels. and this is vertical 0 pixel. Let's just set it to 0 pixels, and then we can set it to then the spread of, let's say spread of 7 pixels. I can set it to red. Just take a look at what will happen. So this is horizontal, this is vertical, right? This is the spread. So if we make this 10 pixel, understand, it brings out the vertical. If you make it 100 pixel, you see it's vertical, but this is horizontal. So we are not going to set any value here. So we're going to make it 0 0, then we're going to use 7 pixels. So we're not going to make use of red, we're going to make use of a different color. Let's say lavender, something like this, lavender. So we can even increase it to 20 pixels, so it looks even better. See, this is it looks very much better. So however, you want a situation such that when you hover on this, it's going to do some nice stuff. So we're going to set the, first of all, before we do that, okay, let's just look at it. So this is the figure, and I want it to do something. When you hover on it, you just use this pseudo class. So we can just do hover. I want it to be a bit bigger, or the box shadow color will change. So we can just copy this out and paste it, and then change the color of the lavender maybe to something a bit darker, and make it a bit more exposed like this. Understand that? So we know we've done that, and we can even make it a bit bigger. You can just transform it using transform. You can use transform scale. You know, all these I just used to style it. You can use scale of 1.1 times like this. So when you do it, it becomes way bigger. So let's just make it 1.05 like this, and we want it to, the cursor to be pointer. You see, now we can have because there is no much space here, I want to have that space, so we can put a padding bottom. You can put a padding bottom of let's say 1 rem like this. It becomes cleaner. You can even set a background color to it. Let's say we want it to be background color of say we want a background color of black. Background color of black like this. Then we want the color of the text to be white like this, and then we want the text, which is the thick caption, right? So we're going to come over here, call it thick caption. We want the text thick caption to have a font size of say 1.2 rem like this, and then we want to text transform it. Text transform is for capitalize it. Is you want to capitalize it like this. Then we want to give it a letter spacing of 1 pixel like this, and then we want to change the font family. The font family used to change the kind of font you want. So there are different fonts, and you can even use Google font. Let's even use Google font. To use Google font, we can just go search for Google font like this. Google font like this. Google fonts like this. So we can come over here, can browse through Google fonts. So this is what we need. There are 2 ways to add Google fonts. Let's look for a nice one. Let's look for a very nice one. I haven't seen any, but I think I like this. So you click on it, and I think I've done that. We have this. Okay, let's just use railway. This This is not exactly the font, so you can either import it or link it. So I think I prefer any. You can just do any of them. So let's use this, and this font, let's use this font like this and copy it. Then we go to our index.html and put it here, the link tag, like this. Understand? Then you can select this font family and now come over here and paste it just here like this. See the font size now. You'll see how it looks, you know. Let's look for something that is better. Let's just remove all this. So let's remove this and let's use this font. I don't like this font, so you can search for Metal. There's a font called Metal. I like it. It's very stylish. This is the font. So I can just select this font, select this. So once you select it and you view it like this, so this is what you have. Copy this. Now if you don't want to copy this, understand, you don't want to make use of this link, you can use import. So I can just copy out this import, then copy this font family and come over here and put it here just above everything. You can just come over here and let's select the import. So let's select the import like this. If you don't want to make use of this, so you can get rid of this, but because we have we might use this some other time, this railway, you can use this some other time, but it's still the same way. So I actually prefer using this, but a lot of people prefer using link. So we can now do this and then come over here and set the font family. Let's set it to the one with the Metal and save. So you can actually, this is how it looks. So this photo gallery, we can set a font that we didn't get from Google. We called it heading, right? We can just set a font family of any. We can just, let's use Times New Roman like this. So this is it. This is what we have here. Yeah, even yeah, this is it. We have this, and we can underline this using text decoration. Underline. Can even make the line wavy to make it look nice. Can even make the line wavy and save. What is the problem? It's not applying. Somehow it's not applying. So I think I'll use underline. So this is it. Now we can, and we have a responsive photo gallery using flex. Now there's something about flex I want you to understand. Now this is, we have set everything and it's very responsive, right? But want this image 1 to become image 2, to take the position of image 2, and want it to and want image 6 to take the position of image 6 to image 4 to take the position of image 3, and so on and so forth. We can use what they call order. So we can do something like this to select. If you don't want to come over here and start selecting the images or the figure one after the other, you know, we can actually give classes here. Class, you can call it figure 1, figure, then the second one figure 2, but we don't want to do that. We want to make use of CSS selectors. Understand? We can actually come over here and do figure of ent type, ent type, right? Right, is it ent type? Okay, let's see. I think I need to now check Google, so you know that developers too can check Google. So we have CSS selectors. So we can go to CSS selectors, we can go to MDN docs, MDN. So this is the official page of whatever you want to take a look at, but we can just look at this sheet and let's see. So we want to select end child, right? So we can use end child, understand that, end child, or we can use last child. So we can just end child, right? So we can just take in the gallery instead of this. You can come over here. Where is the gallery? Here. You can come over here. You can say gallery, then end child. So we want to select the first child, right? Then we can give it an order. So we use order because we have set flex wrap, and we have set flex wrap to the display of flex to the whole gallery, which is this. And then we can actually select the end child, which can be anyone, but this time around we are selecting the first child, which is this image one, and give it an order of 2. It didn't really work as expected, so let's see what happened. So let's go back to the Css selector. We can see we saw end child, right? So the end child of n, let's see, end child, it didn't really work as expected. Let's see, end child. So let's give it a background color of red. Let's see what happened. Okay, it didn't really work. It did not really work as expected. So it was selecting the whole thing. Okay, let's see. Figure, let's see what happens. Okay, now the end child is supposed to, so it worked. Now it worked once I used figure and then set the end child. So we are setting the end child inside this, but we are using the actual tag. So this is it. So we've set it to order of this is it, image 1, order of 1. But because we haven't set order for other ones, it's not going to work properly. So we can just copy this out and let's get rid of the background image and like background color. So let's set end child of 2 to order of 1. So having set the order of figure of end child 2, we can set the orders for the other things. I'm just going to paste it. So the end child of 3 is going to have an order of 3, end child of 4 will have an order of 4, etc. So we're going to save to see the effect on our page, and this is the effect. So it has taken the order we want. We want the 1 to be the second item and the 2 to be the first item. So you can do that. And now that we are done with the we are done with flex, you can just remove this and just comment this out. Let's look at grid, okay? Because we can also make our page responsive using grid. Now grid is used to build layouts. Now we can actually set a display of grid. Once you set it, it doesn't show there's no difference visually, but it's there. Now you can actually set justify. You can now set grid template columns. You can set 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. So this is how it looks, right? It looks okay, but it's not very responsive. However, on the media query of 768 pixel, initially it was 480 pixel. Now we can increase it to 768 pixels, and we can see on such kind of screen, let the gallery have a grid template columns. There are also grid template rows and so on and so forth, and the grid template areas. So you can go to the website I showed you earlier, which is MDN Docs. Could read more about it. So once you can set it to 1FR here, and it's essentially responsive. You see, it's actually responsive, but this is not exactly what we want. We want to have total control of our page. So let's go back and let's give this a justify items of center, so that to make every item come to the center, just like what we've gotten now. Now we can actually now justify content, which we do the same work as the justify content in Flex. We have this now. Instead of setting 1FR, which is one fraction of the space, instead of doing that, we can actually use repeat. Then we set it to min max. Okay, we can say repeat autofill, and let's just set it to 400 pixels and save. Now this is what we have here. So once we scale our page, it's going to scale accordingly. You can see, right? So this is what we call responsiveness. So now that we've taken a look at this, you can actually go online to MDN Docs. You read more about grid. You see, so grid is actually used for giving the layouts for the page and so on and so forth. Flex can also be used for the same thing, and it depends on your preference. Now if you notice something, once you might want to push this, you might want to animate this and cause it to behave in a pleasant manner. To do that, you can use Css animation. Okay, now let's try Css animation. Now let's say we want this the image names to move, the feed caption to move from left to right. To achieve that, you can actually come to the figure, or even to the feed caption itself. Let's give it a border of 1 pixel, solid red. You see, you can do this. Now we can give it an animation name. Normally we have, okay, let's just look at it. We have animation, so we have the name, the duration, the timing function. Now the name is the name you give it, so that you can style and give it any styling you want. The duration is how long you want it to be. The timing function is essentially how you want it to behave. You can have ease in, you can have linear, etc. You can have ease out. Then the delay is like how long you want it to stay before the animation begins playing. The iteration count is how many times you want the animation to play. It can be 2, it can be 5, it can be 10, it can even be infinite. Now the direction is if you want it to go forward after the animation has played. Then the fill mode also does almost the same thing as the direction, to say if it should go forward or backwards, or it should even do the two. So let's start with the animation name. Let's give it a name. We can say slide. So we can give it animation duration. Let's give it 3 seconds. You can give it animation timing function. You can give it linear. Yeah, we can give it linear if you want, prefer linear. Now we can look at animation iteration count. You can make it something like 2. Okay, let's just try this. Now to slide, it won't really slide at the moment, so we have to use a particular keyword called at keyframes. So first of all, let's set this to right, the text align, change it from center to right, so it will come over to this side. Now we can actually take this, set a keyframe, and the identifier is slide. Inside here we can use we can actually do this. You can say okay, move from text align right to text align left. You can do this and save. So once you've done that, your animation should start. As you can see, it will only animate 2 times because we have set the animation iteration count to 2. So this is it. But if you set it to infinite, it's going to go till infinity. You can see, right? It's animating. Now I don't want to use the text align to do it. It's like it doesn't move properly like it should be. Now let's remove the text align. Let's comment it out, and let's get rid of this and save. And we can say, okay, it should have a transform of translate. You see, transform is actually used to, you know, position it, move it inside, move it outside, z index and z angle, and so on and so forth. So we can say translate x for left and right, translate y for up and down. Understand? So you can give it, let's give it 200 pixels minus 200 pixels. Okay, let's give it 200 pixels and see what we're going to have. Okay, this is where it is. This is where it is at the moment. Now we can say, okay, instead of from, we can also use percent. You can say at 0%, let it have a translation of transform on translation x of 200, right? 200 pixel. Now, but at 100%, at the keyframe of 100%, let it have a transform translate x of minus 200 pixels. Let's see. Okay, let's set it to 0 and see. Right, it moves, but if you notice, it's like it flickers. It doesn't really move smoothly. It flickers when it gets to the end. So we can solve this issue by giving it animation direction. You can call it, you can say alternate. Let's see. You see, it bounces. This is the function of animation direction, alternate. It bounces. Okay, as you can see. Now this is a very simple example of using animation. So guys, now that we have seen the basics of animation, let's just look at transition. So transition is just like animation. So we can go over to developer MDN and just let's look for transition, right? So you can say, let's search for transition, CSS transitions. Now transition is just like animation. You see, it's just like animation, but this time around you tend to control it with maybe your hover or something. When a particular thing happens, you want animation to happen, maybe the particular time and something like that. So we can actually do that like this. So we want a situation bar that when you hover on it, it moves, and not when it keeps on moving and rest. So that's just a kind of animation, but it occurs when you do a particular thing. So we can come over here. So this is a transform of translate x 0. So we can actually do a fix. You can do fix caption of hover, and we can set our animation here. We can say transform of translate x of, let's say, minus 200 pixels. Let's save. You notice something? It doesn't really work. As you can see, it doesn't really work. But once we add transition, transition on what are we trying to transit? We want to transit. Now look at it here. The syntax says we can have the property that we want to transit, so we can use this this property here is transform, right? Isn't it? It's transform. The next property is duration, so we can set it to 2 seconds if we want. The next property is timing function. You can set it to whatever timing function you want. You can say transition timing function. The timing function can be busier, it can be linear, it can be easing, and let's try easing. You can even set transition delay, duration, and so on and so forth. Let's set the duration, though we have set it earlier, but let's set it to 2 seconds, and so on and so forth. So we can remove these, we can do this, and save. Now once you come over here and hover on it, it moves. Understand what's happening, right? It's just like animation, but it only applied when we hovered. So that is just the thing, and it has delay on it, so you can reduce this, and that's just it. So guys, this is it. So you can combine animations and their transition to make powerful animations. So transition is essentially animation, but animation that occurs when something happens, like when a particular stuff is checked, or when a particular input is checked, or when a particular div is hovered onto, or when you try to type, and so on and so forth. That is what a transition does. So it's like animation, but occurs when something happens. So guys, we have looked at flex, we have looked at grid, we have looked at media queries, and now we have looked at animation, and we have looked at transition. Congratulations! So now you have everything you need, everything in your power to start learning and building. You see. So you can come over to MDN Docs to get more reference and learn more technologies. In CSS, it has other stuff in it. So you can come over here and learn other things. Go to your HTML and you learn some other stuff that we might not have covered in this tutorial. Go to CSS and you can see other stuff that we might not have covered. So guys, if you like this and you enjoy this, you can hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and come back to see more well explained tutorials like this. I remain Bonaventure Chukwudi for Bonarine Tech Hub. Thank you.